Thank you for watching the GRAMA Spotlight. To access more GRAMA records, go to getinvolvedutah.com and sign up for a free account. Thank you for watching this GRAMA Spotlight. This episode will go over a CTCL, or you might know it as Center for Tech and Civic Life, or you might have heard of it as Zuckbucks, the Zuckerberg money that was given to counties as a grant for the 2020 November election. This record came from Cache County, which is one of two counties that received these CTCL funds. Cache County applied for the CTCL COVID-19 response grant, and it was approved according to the emails on October 9th, 2020. This approval was for a grant totaling of $53,945.50. It has the grant agreement attached to it and says that they have payment instructions and that it will be transferred to the county. One interesting thing it says in this email is Center for Tech and Civic Life has partnered with an accounting firm, Markham LPP, to distribute the grant funds. Markham is using Bill.com to efficiently and securely process payments. After you've completed the grant disbursement form, Markham will send an email via Bill.com and complete the disbursement process. Tina Epps Johnson, the founder and executive director of Center for Tech and Civic Life, is the one who is responding to these emails. And if you go to one of the emails that talks a little bit more about the grant, it says that CTCL is a nonprofit organization that's tax exempt under 501c3, and that they award the money to Cache County. It says before they transmit the funds to the county, they require them to review and sign an agreement, so they have a grant agreement. This agreement is to use the grants that are in compliance with the grant agreement and with the United States tax laws and the laws of and regulations of the state and jurisdiction. In this case, the jurisdiction is the county. It says that the grant shall be expended on the following specific election administration needs. It lists ballot drop boxes, drive-through voting, election department real estate costs, or costs associated with satellite election department offices, nonpartisan voter education, personal protective equipment, which is PPE, which includes like gloves, masks, that sort of thing, poll worker recruitment funds, hazard pay, and training expenses. It goes deeper into what actually they use the money for later, but these are the things that they can use the money for according to this grant. The other things they can use the money for is polling place rental, cleaning expenses for early voting and election day, temporary staffing, voting materials in languages other than English, vote by mail or voting equipment or supplies, election administration equipment. It says the county may allocate grant funds among those needs or other public purposes listed in the grant application without further notice to or permission of CTCL. While it has those things in the grant, there's a little loophole that says you can do it for other things as well. And then it talks about that they shall have to use the money in the grant by December 31st, 2020. But they will also have to report what they spent the money on no later than January 31st, 2021. And we have some of those documents. If you want to know more about the CTL grant application approval, you can read it in this document. Just use the link in the description. One of the questions that Cache County has for the CTCL grant is if they can use it for a vehicle. The email says,
I am the clerk over elections from Cache County, Utah. We would like to use a portion of the funding to purchase an election vehicle that would be a significant benefit to our elections process and assures the safety of our ballots. Would this be an approved use of funding? Just Bradfield Cache County Clerk.
Then Keegan Hughes from the Center for Tech and Civic Life responds,
Hi Jess, yes, an election vehicle for retrieving mail ballots is covered under the broad categories support early in-person voting and vote by mail. In general, the grant can cover any expense that will help your office fulfill one of the following election activities for the 2020 elections. Ensure safe, efficient election day administration. Expand voter education and outreach efforts. Launch poll worker recruitment, training, and safety efforts. Support early in-person voting and vote by mail. We have intentionally made the expense categories broad to fit the needs of the election offices. Grant expenditures are left to the discretion of the election office, as long as it helps your office plan and operationalize 2020 elections. Let me know if you have additional questions. Best, Keegan.
So if you scroll down in this document, you'll find a copy of the response grant application that was filled out by Jess Bradfield, the county clerk in Cache County. And you can read through it and see what kinds of things they're wanting to know. One of the things they wanted to know was how many staff do you have on your team? It says 2. How many active registered voters does your jurisdiction have as of that date? It's 70,163. It asks the total budget to September 1, 2020 is $865,000. So that's a lot for elections. You think they complain that elections are expensive? Yeah, they are, $865,000. They have their financial statement from 2020 as well as a W-9. They list the purposes that they want to use the money for in the application. The next step after they apply is they have to get it approved by the council members. So on October 20th, Jess Bradfield, the county clerk, reaches out and says,
Hi, Craig. I just wanted to follow up to get your email approval to spend our Facebook grant prior to the November council budget meeting. This will allow us to spend the funding prior to the election. Jess Bradfield, Cache County Clerk.
Jess, I think it would be a good idea to reach out to the council members and give them a heads up to what your plans are. Thank you, Craig.
And then he also attaches a spreadsheet for the Facebook grant. Now, we don't get the spreadsheet in this document because when they requested these records, they didn't request attachments. So I don't know what's in that spreadsheet, but what we do have is that, remember, they had to report what they spent the money on by January 31st. That report is included. It is called the reimbursement form. So the reimbursement forms at the very top says Priscilla Chan and Mark Zuckerberg, Center for Tech and Civic Life, COVID-19 Response Grant 2020. And then it goes down the list of what they bought with their $53,995.76. So it went a little bit over. They bought a Polson trailer, a F-150 truck, a trailer mount and ball, the hitch. They bought signs for tables, hand sanitizers, label printers and labels, table throw signage, and then they spent $850 as well on a Boheme Dominic election education video. If you're curious about the process for the Zuckerberg money or the CTCL grant money that was done in 2020, that gives you a look at what that money is. Now you can take that and you can look at the things that we discovered in this email. You can look up the people who are mentioned, such as Tina Johnson Epps. You can look up the Markham LLP or Bill.com and find out who they are. You can also go and look up what they spent the money on.
Access to records are essential for government transparency and accountability. To access a collection of GRAMA records, sign up for a free account at getinvolvedutah.com. Thank you for watching. Join us again to watch another episode of the GRAMA Spotlight.